The number one question I get is, can I use the Backbone One controller with this game or that game, whatever that game the person's playing? Backbone went through the trouble of listing every game that's compatible. So if you go to backbone.com/play, they have every game listed there. You fill in what the name of the game is, and it tells you whether it's supported or not. Guys, what is going on? It is Mike. Welcome back to the channel. We are talking about the Backbone One Game Controller PlayStation Edition. For you fanboys of PlayStation, I have no shame here. I am all about PlayStation. Now, this game controller is $100. You can buy it at a couple different sites here. I'll put links down in the description below if you want to pick it up. And this game controller is deep in that PlayStation aesthetic, right? It looks just like the PS5 DualSense controller. It is functionally no different than the original version, which I have here. What you see is really, it's just the difference is in the color schemes and some light branding differences. But for those of you who are new and you're not necessarily sure whether or not this is the game controller for you, let me tell you a little bit about it. Now, the device itself is compatible with any iPhone 6S on forward. And if you have an iPhone 13 Pro or a 13 Pro Max, it does come with an adapter in the box, which raises the cameras. Now, this is needed on the 13 Pro and 13 Pro Max because the camera modules on the back of the phone are much larger than they were last year. Instead of using wireless connection, the MFI connection does allow for an ultra low latency, zero lag experience, giving you probably the best gaming experience that you're going to find on an iPhone with a controller. Now, when you place the phone into the Lightning port, you will need to remove your phone from a case if you have one. That's a big thing that people continue to complain about. It's the biggest complaint that I hear, but you do need to remove your phone from the case in order to use this. Even if you have a thin case, it will change the way that your device connects to the Lightning port, adding undue friction on that port, which was going to impact gameplay. This has a 3.5mm jack here on this side, and it has a Lightning port on this side, which allows you to, if you're playing a game, you can go ahead and charge your phone while you're listening to it with a pair of wired headphones, which should probably be a big concern for people depending on how long your gaming sessions are. As for the physical layout, the Backbone One has 2 analog joysticks, and depending on your preferences, you may or may not appreciate the positioning of where these joysticks are. To me, they more closely resemble an Xbox controller than they do a PlayStation controller, but depending on where you're coming from and what your basis of comparison is, this is something that you're going to get used to. Which leads to the second question that I get all the time, which is how good are the joysticks or even the Joy-Cons? People say that a lot too, because they resemble the Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons. Now, that has a lot of negative connotation for people, depending on where you're coming from. Again, I think that the Joy-Cons are not bad at all. They actually are pretty responsive, and you can even calibrate them inside of the app. But what I would suggest, if you already own a Backbone One and you're watching this video, comment down below so someone who's thinking about buying this can learn from you what your experience is. Now, below the left-hand joystick is going to be the directional keypad. There is a mute button when you're playing a game if you want to mute yourself if you're in a chat. And then also the screen capture button where you want to capture a video or a photo. That works in here as well. Now here you can see the device is clearly marketed towards PlayStation fans like you, as you find the same face buttons on your PlayStation controller. So there's really no need to look down and figure out which button is it, which button do I need to push when you're playing a game. You don't have that problem when you're playing on this game controller because you're used to playing on the game controller. Moving on the top of the controller, we see 2 shoulder buttons on the left-hand and right-hand side, and these buttons are linear. So as you push them down further, you'll get more responsiveness out of the game depending on what kind of game you're playing. So if I'm playing Asphalt Racing or if I'm playing Gran Turismo, I'm able to push down on this button or push down on the brake button and give a little bit of a lighter brake or a lighter acceleration, which is good for gameplay. I really wish you would have the adaptive triggers of the DualSense, but that's just not possible. We need to wait for Sony to make their own controller. The additional buttons here on the right-hand side is going to be for the Backbone One store, and this is for the menu. Now, moving on from the front of the device, here on the back, you see that there is PlayStation branding across the spine when you open it up. It's only visible while the device is inserted into the controller. Otherwise, it's not visible. This really, to me, signals how much I think PlayStation thinks that this delivers on the experience of playing games. And I'm going to talk about the PS1 Remote Play in just a minute here, which I think is really kind of the nexus of why someone would buy the Backbone One. Now let's talk about the games because I get a lot of questions about games. The number one question I get is, can I use the Backbone One controller with this game or that game, whatever that game the person's playing? And the shorter answer is yes, you probably can, as long as the game itself supports MFI game controllers, which is made for iPhone game controllers. That means you can play it with an Xbox game controller, you can play it with a PlayStation game controller. There's a very, very high likelihood that it's going to work with this game controller. And that leads on to the next thing, which is going to be all the different software that is available for this. Now, there's really, I'd say, 4 different aspects of this controller. So there's using it as a game controller with your iPhone. And for that, if you wanted to, you can get the Backbone One app. It's not needed in order to get it, but Backbone does recommend it so that you can actually update the software on the game controller, because sometimes there's things that need to be updated, new functionality. Now, if you just simply insert your phone into here, you can open up the App Store or open up your library and find any game that you have in there. And again, as long as it supports MFI game controllers, you can use this with it. It's very simple. But if you open up the Backbone launcher, you can actually start there and find all the different games that are already in your library, and the Backbone will actually start recommending you games that you might like to play based on previous gameplay. PS Remote Play is a service that is free, runs on PS4, runs on PS5, and essentially allows your phone to connect remotely to your PlayStation, whether you're on the same network like I am here, the PlayStation's in the other room, or whether you are across town. It doesn't necessarily matter. As long as your device has connectivity to the internet and you can reach it, you should be able to play it. And it's going to be the connection, or the responsiveness of the connection will depend on the quality of your internet connection. So right now I am connecting to that device here, and it shouldn't take more than a moment or two for here. And as you can see here, I'm actually browsing my PlayStation, which is in the other room, and I'm going to play, what game is this? Oh, this is Gran Turismo. Now, the next aspect of the Backbone is going to be the subscription service, which is completely 100% optional. You get it free for your first year. Backbone gives it to you when you purchase your controller, but after the first year, it is $50 per year. Now, I will tell you, I think it's kind of worth it, because when this was announced, I was able to get $20 off this. So instead of being $100, I got it for $80. So that right there is, taking up almost 1/3 of the cost of the subscription. You get additional features like you're able to connect your game controller to your Mac, your PC, your iPad, and use it as a game controller. You're also getting some exclusive discounts on services like Stadia, Xbox Ultimate Game Pass, whatever they call it, and Discord Nitro as well. So it's really not that bad of a value, and you're getting additional in-game perks that haven't been announced yet. That's still something that they're working on. So I wouldn't say that you have to have it. You can still use your game controller without it, even if you don't subscribe to it, and even if you don't have the app, but it is a nice to have, in my opinion. Now, I think for most people, they're going to come back and say the $50 per year subscription charge for Backbone membership, Backbone Plus, is not worth it. And I think for the most part, they're probably going to be right, that unless you are playing games when your controller is connected to your computer, maybe it's connected to your Mac, to your PC, or even your iPad, there's not necessarily a tremendous amount of value that you might find in it. And I don't know if I necessarily agree with Backbone locking those features behind a paywall, because the controller can physically work with that. You just do need the option of having the subscription service to use it. Now, if you're not going to use those features, you're not going to play games on your Mac with your iPad or even a PC, then $50 is not going to be worth it for you. All right, guys, thanks very much for watching my video on the Backbone One controller, PlayStation Edition. I have some videos here related to iPhone and iPad gaming. Check them out and let me know down in the comments below, if you are picking one of these up, what is the game that you are most excited to play for on your PlayStation? I'll talk to you in the next one.